90s books are labeled vintage, and it'll be like, an X-Men, the Jim Lee X-Men #1, totally beat up condition, and just because it's quote unquote old or vintage, they'll be asking for like $50 for it. What's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is John, and you're watching Old Stuff is Cool. Today, I've got a comic haul video. This is a combination of some local comic book store sales, as well as some Facebook Marketplace finds. We've got quite the number of books to cover today, so before moving on, if you can help me out by doing all the YouTube things, like, comment, subscribe, I would greatly appreciate that. But getting into it, let's talk about the comic book store sales first. I guess the fall leading into the holiday season is a good time to maybe clear some inventory. And back issues and dollar bin diving is some of my favorite ways to spend some free time. So first store that I want to talk about is Magic Dragon Comics. Now the store doesn't normally have dollar book bins. And in this case, it was 7 short boxes that were either $2 a piece or 10 for $10. So it definitely, benefited you to buy groups of 10. And, I found 20 books in the end. Here are some highlights. First up, we got some issues of Fantastic Four, issue number 337. These are issues from the Walter Simonson run and have to do a lot with the Time Variance Authority. Issue 354. And then this might have been one of my first or earliest Fantastic Four comics that I got from a Toys R Us comic book bundle. It is Fantastic Four 359, and this is during Tom DeFalco's tenure as writer and Paul Ryan's on pencils. The other thing to note is I think the issue before this, or an issue or two before this, is when you find out that Alicia Masters, who had married Johnny Storm, was revealed to be a Skrull, Elijah. If you watch previous videos, I definitely bought, issues of Thor that I had early on in my comic book collecting days, and just tried to buy back some of that nostalgia. And then the last of Fantastic Four is this one during the Claremont run after Heroes Reborn. We got issue number 11. This one has some notoriety a number of years back because this is the first appearance of Aisha. It's basically the female version of Adam Warlock, but this was a different take. Aisha was the name given to the character in James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy, who appeared in the second and third movies. So while the hype behind it has long died down, I like the Fantastic Four. I thought it was the cover itself is an homage to the famous issue with Adam Warlock, or him, I think, as he was known at the time. Man, what a confusing history, but I love that character nonetheless. Moving on, so from Fantastic Four, I also got some Silver Surfer selections here. First up, we have Silver Surfer Annual 97. I'm almost done having a full set of the Silver Surfer Annuals, and I'm chipping away at that 90s run. Man, I love Silver Surfer. And then also the Silver Surfer vs. Dracula. This is mostly a reprint, but I came in with artist Ron Lim on the book, and this is a Ron Lim cover. Silver Surfer fighting the very 70s Dracula. That was enough for me to pick it up. And then the last batch of books from the dollar or 10 for 10. I got a bunch of Incredible Hulk, and I've been picking up pieces of the Peter David run, which is very extensive. I mean, he was a very prolific writer, had a long run with the X Factor characters, which, coincidentally crossed over with this title as well. But what I was able to really put a big dent in this time around is when artist Dale Keown, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but Dale Keown also created The Pit with Image Comics, but really loved his pencils on Incredible Hulk. So issue 366 first, Finding the Leader. And then issue 367 is the first cover and interior art of Dale Keown. And flipping through this for the first time, it's amazing just to see how artists evolve over time, even what his art might look now. This Grey Hulk is very different from what he would eventually land on for the majority of his run. Actually, if we just go to issue 369. If we just progress through the covers, you'll see kind of his signature style come together. Issue 373, Grey Hulk and Betty just having a good laugh. Issue 394. And keep in mind, not all the covers are by Dale Keown here. Issue 395, a great crossover with the Punisher. Love that. Punisher in the reflection of the sunglasses of the Hulk. Then we have issue 417, featuring the bachelor party of Rick Jones. I forget who chose the movie, but the adult movie, or the skin flick that was chosen, winds up featuring the fiance of Rick Jones, Marlo. And it's just a funny cover, and the premise kind of cracks me up there. Oh, and then, I can't pass up on a shiny foil cover. Issue 425. Yeah, right there. This one's notable because it features the death of Achilles of the Pantheon, which was a group very much supporting characters in the title at the time. And the rest of the Hulk is rounded out by the, I think, Volume 2? Or maybe Volume 3. It's when they rebooted, maybe after Heroes Reborn. But Peter David, left the book and came back. And this actually, I was missing the parts of House of M when that was crossing over into all the books. So it's parts, I think these parts 2 to 4 of it. I already have part 1. I actually quite enjoyed the setup for it, so was looking forward to the rest of this. Issue 84. Issue 85. And issue 86. And you see this is double bag and boarded. I actually had just gone to Magic Dragon Comics yesterday at the time of recording, so these books are fresh. I haven't even had a time really to bag and board them, but I wanted to get a video going because I was falling behind a little bit and many books that I wanted to share with you. So that was the haul from Magic Dragon Comics over in Arlington, Massachusetts. The other sale I was able to hit up that was in late October was over in Comically Speaking in Reading, Massachusetts. I'd always wanted to visit the store, heard great things. A lot of the comic book stores in the area, kind of Boston Metro and surrounding, all have kind of a shared history. Either owners have worked together or have been employed by each other. And so I had heard great things about Comically Speaking. It's a giant store with 2 floors. The main floor has video games, comic books, graphic novels, and all that. And then in the basement, lower level, are all the vintage toys. And I spent a good afternoon there, had a nice break between, I think the kids' soccer schedule worked out so I could just be there uninterrupted. And it's a beautiful day too on that. So I had a really good first experience. Over there, I got a combination of back issues, which were 50% off. However, the dollar bins, which I had heard good things about, were down to 50 cents a book, and I definitely got a bunch of goodies from there. And funny enough, there's more Incredible Hulk. Still part of the Peter David run, and not too many issues, but we got 339, 358. Very cool cover here. I think, let's see, the artist here was, I believe Jeff Purves or Purvis? I'm not sure how to say it. He was the main penciler, I think, for a number of issues before Dale Keown jumped on. The style of those covers actually are very reminiscent of the Todd McFarlane covers, which he definitely cut his teeth on this very title, maybe a year or so before. So I like how it's kind of in line, has a unified look with those Grey Hulk covers. And then last but not least, issue 397. Also have an issue of X Factor. I'm slowly putting together this run. I definitely wanted to get pieces of like the Inferno crossover and Extinction Agenda. Nothing too crazy, but we got Cable and Cameron Hodge there on the cover. A lot of action, intrigue to try to pull in the reader. But the best thing I got from the 50-cent bins was a complete run of Donny Cates' Cosmic Ghost Rider. And it's a combination of first prints and variant covers, but I pieced together. I tried to get the main cover if possible, but having read this digitally before, really fun, kind of like off-kilter story with Cosmic Ghost Rider, who is a cosmically empowered Punisher. And he's a bit unhinged in the way that, you know, when Deadpool is kind of you know, breaking the fourth wall, or, you know, just displaying insanity. That's very much the characterization of Cosmic Ghost Rider as well. So we got issue 1, a variant of issue 2, issue 3, Pardon the Glare, issue 4, Baby Thanos was another, you know, main, prominent supporting character in this run. Oh, and then finally, issue 5. Now this variant cover I was happy to get because this is Ron Lim. Again, came in with Silver Surfer, Infinity Gauntlet. Love his work. One of my favorite artists, not just of the 90s, but I think one of my favorite artists overall. And that kind of is a perfect segue to the next few books, which is the 90s Silver Surfer run. I was able to find these. These next few books were not in the 50-cent bin, but they were half off. They're probably anywhere from like $1 to, I think the most I paid for any of these books was probably $7. So didn't go crazy with this sale. Issue 130, issue 131, and then from Silver Surfer Rebirth, a much more recent series, I was missing issue 5 of this. I remember reading this miniseries when I wasn't actively collecting monthly books. I grabbed this one, and I forgot, there's probably another random, maybe a Batman comic or something, which I just pulled off the stands. So needless to say, I didn't have a pull box at the time. I missed issue 5 completely. Read it digitally, but have been wanting to fill that, you know, that hole in my collection, and now I have. So very happy to do that. Sticking with Cosmic Marvel, we have Marvel Presents Guardians of the Galaxy, issue number 6. I am, I think, down to one more issue of this run, though it's the big one. It's issue number 3, which kicks off, you know, this little tenure of Guardians of the Galaxy on that title. This next one, purely a cover by, got Web of Spider-Man issue 7. Web of Spider-Man's got some great covers, actually. I remember picking up issue, was it 6 or number 8? The one with Charles Vess drawing Black Suit Spidey. Cover by, and for, I think, yeah, like $1 or $2, that's totally fine with me. Then I got Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man, issue 23. This is the second part of the Moon Knight storyline. Issue 22 is the first meeting of Moon Knight and Spider-Man. So, as a big Moon Knight fan and as a Spidey fan, had to grab that. And then the most quote-unquote pricey book of of this batch, I think it's like $7, which I paid for this one. It's the first cameo appearance of Taskmaster in Avengers 195. I would like to get his first full appearance in 196, and actually, it's not like he's in the shadows. Issue 195 definitely falls into the age-old debate of what is a cameo appearance versus first appearance. Why is it one book and not the other? I mean, I get it. Issue 196 has Taskmaster on the cover with the kind of bright green background. That is the much more eye-catching one, but I'll grab a cameo appearance, and I love that character. It's from, I think it was from Gail Simone's run on Deadpool, where Taskmaster and his kind of tentative friendship to like actual friendship developed, and I've always been a big fan of that dynamic, so it kind of retroactively made me a big fan of the character. I mean, he's got a really cool power set anyway, that anything he sees, he can copy to the best of his ability. So especially things like Daredevil, you know, acrobatics, obviously he's not going to copy an energy blast from someone, but as far as physical abilities, Taskmaster can recreate whatever he sees. So fun book, fun character. I'll definitely be on the hunt for the following issue of 196 in the coming year. So that does it for the local comic book sale pickups. Now I've got 2 very fun purchases that I made through Facebook Marketplace. For any viewer out there who has perused Facebook Marketplace for comic books, man, there are so many memes, or I mean, you can write a whole video on the ridiculous posts and asking prices that are out there. Basically, you know, 90s books are labeled vintage, and it'll be like, you know, an X-Men, the Jim Lee X-Men #1, one of the covers in like totally beat up condition, and just because it's quote unquote old or vintage, they'll be asking for like $50 for it. When I see that, that's kind of the more standard thing to come across. What are more, diamonds in the rough, gems to find in Facebook Marketplace are things that are, well photographed and a decent price, even if there's a little bit of negotiating involved. I mean, the majority of the listings are just ludicrous, and you know that no amount of negotiating will get you something reasonable. That was not the case here. I had very pleasant experiences with both these sellers. This first group of books I got from a seller, Charlie, who was just a 20-minute drive away, all Bronze Age, and there's one comic in particular that caught my eye. It's a little silly, but before we get to the main star of this bundle, we've got some, I believe this is a reprint series, Marvel Double Feature, and they're in, it's, I'll say like mid to low grade. We got issue 13, issue 15, a lot of Captain America here, issue 19, and issue 20. And so this might be a fun way to read some old stories. I think we're definitely looking at Jack Kirby stories from Captain America, but that was kind of bundled in with the main thing I wanted, which is this ridiculous character right here, Devil Dinosaur. Issue number 1 and issue number 2. And I'm glad to say these were the main 2 books I really wanted from this bundle, and they're in excellent condition. It's Devil Dinosaur being a Jack Kirby creation. I don't have a lot of Jack Kirby in my collection overall, other than reprints. And Devil Dinosaur is a character that I've really come to like more recently from my playing of Marvel Snap, the online card game, as well as having picked up Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, a much more recent series for my kids. It's a Disney cartoon too, which we haven't really watched too much of, but either way, a big red T-Rex, that's just fine. And his original partner in crime here is Moon Boy. Just look at, when I went to Wicked Comic Con, I think I came across a copy, and just whenever I see people post it online, I'm always like, I'd like to add that to my collection. I don't think I'm going for a full run of this book. I just, but these 2, it reminds me to have fun in this whole comic collecting thing. So, really good purchase. I'll be keeping an eye out for future postings from the seller because it was so easy, well priced. I got that whole bundle for, I want to say, like $20 or so. Yeah, I think it was like $20. And now the final batch of books I want to share with you guys. This seller, Zach, actually is friends with Lunch Money Comics, and I think he mentioned that he appeared in the background of one of Mike's videos in the past. Zach, I reached out. He was so attentive, responded very quickly, very professional, and actually very friendly too. Professional and friendly. What a great combination. Everything from requesting photos once there were a group of books I wanted. Even just the prices he was asking was very reasonable. And in the end, I will say, I picked out a bunch of books. We came to a price. But when it came time for me to actually stop by his house and make the exchange, we got to talking, and he was open to me just flipping through the books he was selling, which were a number of long and short boxes, quite the collection. That was really fun, just chatting him up. Met his very friendly dog as well. I forget the name, but overall a very, very fun comic purchasing experience. Needless to say, I found more books in addition to what I wanted to buy in the first place, and this was the stack I walked away with. So most of these are Bronze and Copper Age, so kind of older Marvel books. We got Marvel 2-in-1, number 85. So continue chipping away on that run. I got to complete my run on Transformers Universe. This is a 4-issue series. Number one, and number 4, and this is basically like the Marvel official handbook, but for Transformers. And Bud Budiansky is the main one who wrote up the bios and the characterizations of the Transformers. I mean, there's a whole long history between Marvel and I think Hasbro or Takara, I forgot the Japanese toy company, to create this whole line. I love the Transformers, the toys, the cartoon, the movie, but I really geek out over these, little details and kind of hidden facts and gems you'll find in these kind of source books. I mean, there was a side character that was unnamed in the Transformers '84 movie, and they even showed a transformation that we never got in the animated version. I know this is probably from the comic adaptation of the Transformers movie, but still, stuff like that, you love to run into that. Moving on, we've got some Amazing Spider-Man, filling out some issues here. Number 260. Great cover with the Hobgoblin. Hobgoblin being really the A-list villain during this era of Spider-Man. Also, issue 263, and this one features the first appearance of Normie, the son of Harry Osborn, who I think he's the Red Goblin right now, if I'm not mistaken. The rest of all this is Daredevil, and we're talking not just any old Daredevil, but Frank Miller era Daredevil for the most part. And this, everything from before he was regularly writing it and just doing the art to when he fully takes over. So issue 159 here, this cover is notable in that it shows an unmasked appearance, a rare unmasked appearance of Bullseye. Issue 163, a well-known crossover with the Hulk. This is a fun issue, fun read. Issue number 172. Some great covers from this Frank Miller run. Issue 173. Issue 178, which features the meeting between Daredevil and Power Man and Iron Fist, the Heroes for Hire. Very cool cover with his radar sense and the two other heroes there. Issue 180. I would say a lot of these are newsstands too. Issue 181, this was notable for the death of Elektra. I mean, we know she got better, but still, death of Elektra. A big book I'll have to hunt down eventually. It's the first appearance of Elektra, but no rush on that. Issue 183, a great cover with the Punisher and a newsstand no less. And this is the first battle between Daredevil and Punisher. Issue 184, continuing that storyline and just a famous cover of Daredevil and a gun. Issue 185. And then last but not least, issue 196. Cover here is by Klaus Janson, and it is the first appearance of Lord Darkwind. But yeah, that's a lot of Daredevil. I think that's a lot of Daredevil that I wasn't necessarily expecting to find. And as I've said in the past, you can definitely get better deals when bundling books. This was a large stack of books, and I want to say it came in just a little bit over $100. So if I were to piece it out and get these, Frank Miller Daredevil keys little by little, I would definitely want to paying much more. But more importantly, I think I've struck up a friendship with a fellow comic book fan, and I definitely wouldn't hesitate to get more books. In fact, we're in talks of maybe doing a trade or something like that. But great buying experience with Zach. I have to mention too that he's over on Instagram. If you want to follow him, I'll leave a link down in the description below. But that's gonna do it for this huge, local comic book haul. A lot of books. If you've been comic book hunting and have found some gems out there, let me know what you found. I'd love to hear from you guys. Thank you guys so much for taking some time out of your day to tune into this video. I really do appreciate it. And I hope to catch you in the next one. Take care.